YouTube, what's going on, man? It's your boy Xerxes coming back at you with another one. And boy, oh boy, I am excited to share this one with you. As you can see from the thumbnail, probably this is an int and accuracy stacking jug that's using Reeve to do some insane amounts of damage. So just to preface this video, this is not a cheap build. I've spent hundreds of divines on this, and I could easily spend hundreds more. So if you're looking for something cheap, this is not it. But if you want to see maybe what you can aspire to build towards, I obviously have a long way to go. But my sheet damage right now is 11.3 million. So I'm doing some pretty crazy damage. I got the idea from a video. I was cruising around YouTube, saw a video Palceron posted with a bunch of different skills he was using on his int stacker, and Reeve kind of jumped out at me. A lot of the skills that I've been using have just been screen cluttery, and Reeve is one of the skills where the screen clutter is just non-existent at all. So I really like it. So overview of what we're going to do. I am going to do a Uber Exarch here. Then we'll just run like a Minotaur map so you can see what the mapping looks like. And then I'll break down how I set the character up. Okay, so without further ado, let's get into this. Now, my dodge skills are not the greatest. And so if I don't one phase him, I might die. Just to warn you, but you'll see pretty quickly that the damage is pretty insane. So same thing with a lot of the builds. You drop your Grafts skill, this gives you lucky damage, and then you pop your Flasks and then your tincture and just go to town. So hopefully we can one phase him here. I've done a couple of runs and I've one phased them most of the time, so we'll just have to see how it goes. Drop the Graft, hit the Flasks and the tincture, and he's dead. That's Uber Exarch. So it's some pretty insane damage. I will include the POB down below. If I have Val Reeve active, it's like 700 million DPS or something like that, with Rage up and all my Flasks up and everything, but it's probably a couple hundred mil without all that stuff. So we'll just pop this Minotaur map in here. I guess we can do like a Maven Witness Minotaur so you guys can see that. And then I'll go over, like I said, all of the details of the build. And you can see the cleanliness of the mapping when we go through here too. It's just, there's no clutter. Everything just dies. And it's real easy on the eyes as opposed to like Kinetic Blast where everything is just like impossible to see. This one is about as clean as it gets in my opinion. And then when you're mapping, all you need to do every once in a while is just pop your Val Reeve and you'll have pretty insane AoE. I'll show you what, I guess we can do one of these since we got it here. It's super good for doing this too, just because the AoE on Val Reeve, I mean, you can see it's just absolutely insane. And then whenever, like if a boss pops, you pretty much just pop your Val Reeve and the boss from this will just get one tapped. So we'll see if we get one of the breach bosses in here or not. Come on, man, where the enemies at? There we go. Let's see. You can just see the damage is absolutely insane. Let's see what we got here. Did we get a boss? We did. He's just gone, dude. He's gone. It's so crazy. Give me the juice. Give me the juice. Okay. All right. Let's pop on to Mr. Minotaur here. I can't tell you, man. Like the last Kinetic Fusillade build I was playing was like super fun, and I didn't think I was gonna be able to top it, but I saw this and I said, you know what, I'm gonna send it. I've never done an int stacker or any sort of stacker before, so this has been an interesting journey for sure, but it's been a lot of fun, and I'm looking forward to sinking even more currency into it. Learned a couple of lessons on the way about how not to craft some gear too, so I'll share that with you, so hopefully you guys don't make the same mistakes I do, because one of them was a fairly costly mistake, but it's all good. We'll make some more money back. So same thing here, just drop your Graft skill, let him go down in the ground, and then you just pop Val Reeve. It's fucking one second of hitting him and he's just gone. The damage is just so insane. All right, so let's go back to the hideout here, and I'm gonna go over everything you need to know if you're looking to try and put something like this together. So, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pull up a little notepad that I have here, just to kind of show you the reasons why we do what we do. Okay, so we're scaling int and accuracy, and the reasons for that I've listed here, right? So as far as int scaling goes, from each of these claws, we get 5% accuracy rating per 25 int. So we get 10% accuracy rating from our claws. We get 1% increased ES per 5 int just inherently. That's what intelligence naturally gives you. Then we get 1% evasion from the evasion and ES mastery. We get 2% evasion from per 10 int from the Shaper's Touch gloves. We get accuracy rating per 2 int from Shaper's Touch as well. And then on the body armor implicit, we get 1% less damage taken per 190 int. So lots of reasons to stack int here, okay? And then there's a couple of things that I still need, which are very expensive to get, which I'm working towards, which is the amulet that has 2% increased damage per 15 int. And then you can get a corrupted implicit on your graft that gives you 1% increased melee damage per 20 int as well. So if I get these two things, my damage, like, I'll get like an extra couple 100 million damage just from those two. Okay. And then the accuracy, we scale flat lightning damage from the Storm Rider boots that we're wearing. So we get 1 to 6 lightning damage per 200 accuracy. Then on the mastery, we get accuracy rating equal to your intelligence. You want to try and get some accuracy on your gear if you can, and then you have a level 21 precision and an ice golem for even more accuracy. And the defenses on this build, we are using a vigilant strike setup just to get fortify. Before I had this, I was just using fortify on my chest to keep it up all the time. And then we get less damage taken per int on the chest, like I mentioned. We have 36,000 evasion rating without really having any evasion on our gear at all. We get 20% less damage taken from flesh and stone, 21% less fizz and fire from Arctic armor. We have a mortal call with castwood and damage taken, and this has huge uptime from our Ascendancy where we're just constantly getting endurance charges. And then on top of that, we have a huge ES pool of 11,000 and an insane amount of recovery. We're getting 3,300 ES leech from our recovery. So a lot of defensive layers on there. This build is fairly tanky, and you can scale the ES up to like 18, 19,000 if you get better gear. So what I'm going to do is go over each piece of gear so you guys can see. The helmet is just a pure ES helmet with int, accuracy, and ES and res. Res is kind of hard to get on this build, so get it wherever you can. And then on the implicit, we have mana reservation efficiency. I will be able to drop this once I get a level 4 Enlighten. Right now, I'm using a +1 socketed gems to kind of like cheese that a little bit and get a level 4 without really having a level 4. I have the money for it. I just haven't gotten around to doing it yet. So in here, we have Raised Spectre with Minion Life, Meat Shield, and Elemental Army. And this is because of one of the ascendancies, the Bloodline ascendancies that were taken, which I will go over in a minute. Okay, so that's the helm. This is one of the same Twilight Regalias I've been using, I think. And then I just rolled this until I got T1 int with a nice res, crafted attributes on there, and then called it good. It's very hard to color this. So what you can do is use, I think it's tailoring orbs to get 8% increased defense. And one of those will have no, I believe it's no blue sockets, and then you just hit it with a blanching, and then you can color this. I did it where before I 6-linked it, I did 3 red, and then I did 3 socket, 4 socket, 3 socket, 4 socket until I got a green, and then I did the exact same thing with 5 socket to 4 socket until I got another green, and then I obviously did 5 to 6 and got the blue, which is easy to get. So that's like a kind of backwards way of doing it, but that's how I did it, and it worked out. So in here we have obviously our main damage skill, which is Reeve and Vol Reeve with Volatility, Awakened Ellie damage, Pulverize, Nightblade, and Awakened Lightning Pen. Okay, then let's go over the rings. So you want to use a helical ring. This is where we're getting an insane amount of int and res, and then we're just mirroring this with the Calandra's Touch. The Simplex Amulet, this is what I was talking about. I crafted this wrong. I just Awakener Orbed the two together. And there is actually a video that I think it's Sushi did where he goes over how to craft it, and I saw that after I did this, unfortunately. So that was about a 60 divine mistake right there. But, you know, like I said, you live and you learn. And if you are looking to do this, check out his video to learn how to craft this, because you obviously want the 2% increased damage per intelligence on there as well. Now, the reason this whole build works is because of these new claws, the Foulborn Hand of Thought and Motion, which, like I said, give us the increased accuracy per 25 int. You want to get 12% on each of these if you can, and then you can actually corrupt them to get some like crit multi implicits and stuff. Since he's posted that video, Palsteron, these have gone up insanely like high. They used to just be like 5 or 10 chaos, and now they're like 300 or 400 chaos for a 12% roll. So if you have to sacrifice a little bit in order to get through, you can, but you really want the 12% on there. And then obviously we're just wearing 2 of these in here. Like I was mentioning, we have the Vigilant Strike with Fortify. So all you need to do is just hit something with Vigilant Strike every 10 seconds, and you'll keep your Fortify buff up. And then we have Summon Ice Golem. And like heavy mapping, this thing will die, but for bossing, it's there just to give you an extra boost of damage when you're trying to burst something down. And then in this other one, we have Assassin's Mark with Mark on Hit. Very important to get quality on your Assassin's Mark. If you don't know that already, this is how you generate your power charges when you're fighting a boss. And then in here we have Whirling Blades. With the attack speed that we get from our Ascendancy as well, one of the things I'll show you is, since we're a Juggernaut, we get 1% increased attack speed per 150 accuracy rating. So this is just an insane amount of attack speed. One thing that I've noticed is I'm used to not having this much attack speed. So when I would Whirling Blades, sometimes when you're running through maps, you'll like rubber band, because the game, you have your mouse here and you go so fast that the game actually thinks that you're still here by the time you're over here. So when you're running through, it's best to keep your mouse at like the edge of the screen. That way that rubber banding doesn't happen. But as you can see, our attack speed is just absolutely crazy. So just wanted to point that out. Okay. And then the gloves, like I mentioned, are Shaper's Touch. If you get a level 4 Enlighten, then you want to have a Corrupt on this for base crit. I had to do a couple of things with my Grafts in order to get my crit chance maxed out, but I do have a 100% crit. So this is how I'm getting around it right now. And then here we have Arctic Armor with Grace, Flesh and Stone, and Enlighten. So this is all of our defensive setup like I was talking about. Then you're going to have a Cyclopean Coil here. You want to get one with the highest % increased attributes, and then obviously a Corrupt for even more int on there is very good. And then this is how we get most of our ailment immunity, right? So obviously we can't be shocked because our int is so high, right? It's higher than our strength. And then we cannot be frozen. We actually get that from, we can't be frozen. Well, we get that from our Ascendancy, right? You can't be frozen or chilled because your action speed can't be lowered. And then I actually don't have the Ignite immunity because my strength is not higher than my dex. I think ideally you would want to have that, but I don't notice a problem with Ignites at all. So if you have higher strength than dex, then you'll be Ignite immune as well. And then for the boots, these are how we scale all of our flat damage. So this says 1 to 6 added attack lightning damage per 200 accuracy. So as you can see on my sheet here, it says I deal 21,879 to 711,586 lightning damage. So it's obviously a huge range of damage. That's why this Wreathed in Light that gives you lucky damage is so important. You want to make sure that you're always standing on this radiant ground whenever you're fighting a boss. If you're standing in the middle, you're losing a ton of damage. So position yourself to where you can stand on the boss and be on the radiant ground, and you're going to have a much better time, right? Because what lucky damage does, if you don't know, is, you know, any number in between 21,000 and 71,000 you can roll. And so let's say you roll 35,000. The game will roll that number again. And if, let's say the next time you hit for 600,000, it will pick 600,000, which is obviously a huge damage increase. So lucky damage is like the most insane scaling to this build ever. So make sure that you're doing that. And then in the boots, we just have int with res and some movement speed and onslaught on kill. And then the last thing to go over is the gems in here. Like I mentioned, another defensive layer is Immortal Call with cast when damage taken and more duration. And then we have our precision in here for more accuracy. The what are these called? Flask that I'm using, Quicksilver Flask with movement speed, Diamond Flask with some curse effect, a Silver Flask with crit chance, and then I do have a Bottled Faith. And this is a very good tincture here. You want one with damage pin and increased effect. Super good tincture there. That's for melting bosses down. Now the Grafts, the ones that I am using are Jolting Ashgraft and a Storming Ashgraft. So what this one does is it gives you increased damage taken for every jolt stack that you get. You're going to get up to 10 jolt stacks like immediately. So you do take 10% increased damage, but you get 30% more maximum attack damage too. So as I was mentioning with this roll range, it's going to have even 30% more. And so that's why you want to use things like volatility, which gives you more maximum attack damage as well. So you're just increasing that amount of the top end, and then with lucky it just becomes even more and more valuable to have the lucky damage. So on here we have +4 to skills. This actually gives us 1% more maximum attack damage per stack, so we're up to 30% more maximum attack damage when we're fully buffed with this. And then on here I just got some int, obviously because we're stacking int. And then for the Wreathed in Light, this one you want +4 as well. This just gives you even more flat added lightning, and then some int on there as well. So that covers the Grafts. Let's go over the passive tree now. So one of the things that I'm doing on this tree is, as you can see, I have a ton of cluster jewels, right? So I think this one over here is the one that I crafted that's like almost perfect. So with all these cluster jewels, you want a 12 passive with claw and dagger damage, and then you need it to be level 84, item level 84. And you roll this, I did alt regal with this, with the new Foulborn currency, until I got 35 effect and either 8 int or T1 int or all attributes. Once you have those two on a magic base, then you imprint it and just make a bunch of imprints, and then you use a Foulborn regal and hope to hit either all attributes or intelligence. Once you have those three, you're good. The last mod is not super important, but if you can get ES on there like this one, this is like the best one that you can get. So I have this one here. This one I believe has damage instead of the ES, which is not bad, right? Because all of these are getting scaled by 35%. So your 3 all attributes actually goes up to 4. Your 3 damage actually goes up to 4 as well. And then your 8 int goes to, I believe it's 10. So this jewel here, another jewel here, and then I have one last jewel over here. And this one has some res instead of the all attributes. So this one I need to recraft again. Some of the jewels that I have in here, so you want to get 2 split personalities if you can with int and accuracy. Obviously I've already gone over why that's so important. This one jewel right here is giving me 58 intelligence and 470 flat accuracy. And one thing that you want to note too is that it's not a huge deal, but you don't want to connect this if possible. This just gives you a few extra points of int and accuracy. This one's 58 and this one's 53, so you get 5 more accuracy and 40 more int from doing it that way. The couple of jewels that I'm using here, these are the attribute transforming ones. So this just takes all the strength and moves it into intelligence. Same thing with this one here, just makes all of these normally strength nodes turn into int. And then what else to talk about? The jewels that are in here, you basically just want int, attributes, crit multi, and those types of things. So these aren't perfect by any means, but they're the ones that I have for now. Corrupted blood immunity is also really big. So this one is obviously not perfect. It's got totem damage on there, but for the time being, corrupted blood immunity, instead of having to get it on a flask, I just have it there now. These are the same thing, int, crit multi if you can get it. Attack damage, strength int, right? I am using a Bound by Destiny. This is very important. So you need to have 2 Crusader items equipped. So as you can see, the Simplex amulet that I have is Crusader, and then the what do you call it? The Stormrider boots that I have are Crusader as well. You can move these pieces around if you need to, but you just want to make sure no matter what that you have 2 Crusader pieces and you get one of these with max 15% int on it. Very, very big damage boost there. And then another jewel here. This one's pretty solid. Attack speed, crit multi, and intelligence. That's probably the best jewel that I have. And then for the last jewels, like I mentioned, the split personalities. Now, one thing that I am doing here too is I have a lethal pride. This gives me increased melee damage. It gives me rage on melee hit. And then I have intimidate on hit here. So intimidate is a big scaler of damage. And then I also do have 1 chance to deal double damage here. I don't think this one's doing anything, and this one's not doing anything either. So pretty solid lethal pride there that gives you some strength and a lot of good benefits there. So we will go over the Ascendancy now. So like I mentioned, Undeniable is huge. Going through the first Ascendancy, you obviously want to pick up Unstoppable. This means that you can't be stunned, can't be chilled, can't be frozen. Very big. This one gives us just giga attack speed, and then this is how we're generating all of our endurance charges on a regular basis. The last thing that we're not taking the 4th Ascendancy point here. We're actually taking the Feral one, and what this does is it gives you your Spectre, which I was talking about earlier. The one that I am using is this one right here, and it's a perfect guardian turtle, and what this does is it gives you 5% fizz damage reduction and also gives me determination. So I'm getting determination from this this Spectre here. One thing to note, just in case, if you take this gem out, you can put it back in and the Spectre will just go on the ground and you can resummon it. But if you take your helmet completely off, for some reason, this thing, at least in my experience, this thing just went away. And this is like a 3-div Spectre. So don't make the mistake that I made. And if you're going to do anything with your helmet, just take the gem out. The Spectre will go on the floor. And then once you put it back on, you can just resummon it with Raised Spectre. So don't make that mistake, because I cost myself 3 divs by doing that for some reason. So yeah. Anyway, let's make sure that I went over everything that I wanted to go over. We went over the gear, the gems. I think I went over all those. Flask graph, passive tree clusters, unique jewels, the bloodline, perfect turtle, the Pantheon. So the last thing that I wanted to go over is I am using Soul of Lunaris. Because, I didn't go over what the Spectre is given. Sorry. This thing gives you increased accuracy, 100% crit, and it also gives you take no extra damage from critical hits. So one of the main reasons why you would take Soul of Solaris, in my opinion, is for the no extra damage from crits, but we already have that. And so I'm using Lunaris here, and then I've been running Red Altars, so I'm taking the immune to Burning Ground there. I think that covers everything that I wanted to cover. Like I said, this is a very expensive build. I've probably sunk at least a few hundred divines into it, and I plan on sinking a few hundred more. But as you can see, the reason I waited to film this video is because I literally just leveled, and with that last level, I got over 3,000 intelligence. So that was my initial goal with the build, was to get 3K int, and I finally hit that today. I stayed up literally all night until I leveled and could record this video. So I am a little tired, but hopefully this has been a good representation of the build. It's super fun. Like I said, it is expensive though. So if you guys have any questions or comments on the build, feel free to drop them down in the comment section below. And with that, I'll leave the video there. I'll catch you beauties later. Peace out.